You ready to play? All right, go.
Hit it.
Welcome back to Jamie's Vinyl Hideaway. I'm Jamie, and this is my hideaway. Today I'm going to talk about the Stooges, Iggy and the Stooges. Now, in Michigan, right about here, is that right? Just west of Detroit, where all that great rock and roll comes from, in the suburb of Ann Arbor, Iggy Pop got together with a bunch of guys. They formed the Stooges. Ron Ashton, guitar. His brother Scott Ashton on drums. And Dave Alexander on bass guitar. And at that time, Iggy was calling himself Iggy Stooge. Iggy got his name from the Iguanas. He used to play the drums with a band called the Iguanas. And he formed his own band, the Stooges, and they put out some really great stuff starting in 1969. Unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of commercial success, but people remembered them. And they eventually got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they were just so good. And I was going to get into doing something mellow on the Jamie's Vinyl Hideaway, but tonight is not going to be mellow. This is the Stooges. And what is this?
Sounds mellow.
Anyway, to start things off, I'm going to go into the first track called 1969. Very simple lyrics. 1969, okay, all across the USA. Another year for me and you, another year with nothing to do. Good wholesome lyrics. And this song's going to run right into the second song, which will be self-explanatory. Here we go. Great use of the wah-wah pedal, which had a few years earlier been invented. Changed rock and roll. simple lyrics. I want to be your dog. That was released as a single. But they didn't play that on the radio, did they? No. Anyway, this is a Canadian import on Electra Records. I bought this in Taos, New Mexico. I think I have a little sticker on it. Tells me where I bought it. Anyway, they made the label. That's a reissue. They made the label to look like the old Electra label. This is what the Electra label would have looked like back in 1969, I believe. And this is one of their friends, the MC5, also from Detroit, which was kind of an inspiration to the Stooges, because they had come out just before the Stooges, and they were equally as different in the world of rock and roll. Anyway, the Stooges, there was some concern about the name the Stooges, and so they called up Mo Howard of the Three Stooges and asked them, can we call our band the Stooges? The story goes something like that. And Mo Howard said, I don't care what the blank you call yourselves, as long as you don't call yourselves the Three Stooges. So, of course, I will edit out any cursing. Well, I will refrain from cursing on this show. This is a family show. But I can't be responsible for what Iggy Pop might say or do, or anybody else on the show. Second album, Funhouse, also on Electra. Great album. By the way, the first album was recorded in New York City. John Cale, of the formerly of the Velvet Underground. On the first two Velvet Underground albums, John Cale, he produced the first Stooges album. The second Stooges album was recorded in Los Angeles. And this is a really great album. And I'm going to, it's also a Canadian reissue. And I'm going to play 1970. Hey, they had a song called 1969. Let's have a song called 1970. Why not? We'll play a little bit of that. title track, Funhouse, features Steve McKay on saxophone. He's kind of like a member of the Stooges. Not officially, well, maybe officially, but he was never like full-time, I guess, not on all the songs. Anyway, Funhouse is a really cool song, and it features Steve McKay on saxophone. By the way, Iggy Pop and the Stooges is something we always heard about when we were young, growing up in the early 70s. But we never heard them. They didn't play them on the radio. We weren't from Michigan. I grew up in New York, and we knew who they were. There was a little article in the back of Circus Magazine, talking about Iggy Pop, cuts himself with glass and does this and that. And, we thought, well, that's kind of odd, but we never heard the music. If I had heard this music, I would have loved it. Because this is good hard rock and roll. He might be called the godfather of punk, but to me, it's hard rock. Here we go, Funhouse. Stump the Jamie, question number 1. In what movie does Iggy appear as a S/A hotel guest? A S/A hotel guest.
As a.
A hotel guest.
No.
I don't know. Iggy's done a lot of acting, and he's been in a lot of movies. But what does he? I don't know. A hotel guest, huh?
No. As.
ASLA.
No.
Does anybody know what this says? I have no idea what this says. Anyway, if you got the answer to this question, if you know the answer, please put it on my YouTube channel, because I don't know the answer to this question.
Comments.
So
comments.
Tell
stumped. Them.
I'm stumped.
In what movie?
Please.
Does
in what
he
movie
appear
as
a
hotel
guest?
A hotel guest. Taking it down again. Iggy's instrument is his voice. Not only does he sing, but he makes all these crazy sounds. Anyway, really groovy song. Who says groovy? I don't know.
You do.
Yeah. Oh, I do. That's right. Yeah, okay. I do. Great album. Great album. Great songs, Down on the Street, Loose, TVI, Dirt. Good wholesome stuff. Yeah. Anyway, they didn't sell. Elektra dropped them after 2 albums. You know, the Stooges fell on hard times. They broke up. Actually, they carried on for a few years without a record contract. James Williamson joined the band. And eventually, it was just Iggy and James Williamson. And they went to London. Now, they had a fan in London. And that fan was David Bowie. David Bowie was just recently off his success with Ziggy Stardust, so he had a lot of clout in the business. And David also in 1972 produced Lou Reed's Transformer album, which was successful. And a great album. We'll do Lou Reed someday.
Yeah.
And the Velvet Underground. Anyway, so they went to London, and they recorded Raw Power. Now, the record company didn't put a lot of money into Iggy and the Stooges. That's what they were calling themselves at this point. And they didn't even have a band. It was just Iggy and James Williamson. So they couldn't find a good rhythm section, and Iggy's like, "Hey, why don't we call up the Ashton brothers back in Michigan and ask them to join the band?" Except that Ron Ashton was a guitar player, but he could play the bass too, and he would rather play the guitar, but they asked him to play bass. And so him and his brother flew over from Michigan to London, and they recorded Raw Power. But unfortunately, the mixing wasn't all that great. They put all the music that they recorded on 3 tracks. And then they gave those 3 tracks to David Bowie to try to mix it and make it better. They overdubbed a few things, and David did the best he could. And this is what we got out of the Raw Power. Now, this is a little different than the first previous albums. Also, Columbia Records wanted ballads. They wanted 1 ballad on each side. So this is what it can be constituted as a ballad. It falls right in between Search and Destroy, which is a really great song, the opening track, and Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. That's probably a love song.
Aww.
Anyway, this song here, Gimme Danger. That David Bowie did was he took the lead guitar and he pumped it through something called a time cube, which gave it this distorted effect, or this spacing effect. And that's kind of what we're going to hear here. number 2. Let's see if I can read this one. Which of Iggy's songs appears in the... Oh, man, she's good. My lovely assistant finds these questions. And the last show we did, the Kink show, I got them all right. She was disappointed.
I'm stumping
anyway,
Jamie. Stumping the Jamie.
I don't think I know this one. Which of Iggy's songs appears in the movie Train Spotting? Train Spotting.
Ewan McGregor.
Why haven't I seen this this movie, Train Spotting?
Heroin addiction. You probably
Anyway,
have seen
is it a Stooges song or is it an Iggy Pop song? I don't know. But let's go with Search and Destroy. Everybody loves Search and Destroy. But if you know the proper the answer to this question, please make a comment on my YouTube channel. Matter of fact, while you're on my YouTube channel, share it with your friends and family.
And your vinyl heads.
And your vinyl heads. Anyway, the next song, Penetration. What? Penetration. Yeah, it's a great song.
That's Alice in Chains.
That's it. They probably borrowed it from Iggy. But anyway, all these songs were written by Iggy Pop and James Williamson, by the way. James Williamson, turns out, became an electrical engineer. He kind of dropped out of the music business and became a very successful electrical engineer back in the States. And I really love the beginning of this song, just how it, I don't know, just what it does.
Turn it up.
Where it goes. Let's hear it.
Turn it up. I like this.
Anyway, some diehards think that the rough mix before David Bowie got it and did his magic, they think that should have been better, or anyway, they re-released Search and Destroy without unbowied, as they call it. And this is a little EP that's got a few songs. And on Bomp Records. But anyway, it's cool to have, but I do like the Bowie mix better. Let's see, what else? Oh, wait.
25 minutes.
Anyway, one more thing before we end things. By the way, this was on Columbia, and record companies, all they want is you to sell hundreds of thousands of records. And if you don't, they'll just drop you, which is what they did with Iggy and the Stooges. Records are still in print today. Columbia's still making money on it. But at the time, it didn't make what they wanted. They got rid of them. Anyway, Iggy and James Williamson, struggled on for a couple more years. They tried to put out another album. And this is a demo I'm going to end the show with of what would have been the follow-up to Search and Destroy.
Ooh.
On white vinyl. This is a West German import, back when there was a West Germany subsidy of Bomb Records.
Bomb?
Called I'm Sick of You. Very Iggy-like. Starts out kind of slow and then kind of gets loud. And when they get loud, the music is really similar to a Yardbirds song called Happenings 10 Years Time. If you know the song, you'll see what I mean. But let's kind of start, let's see if I can find the slow part right as it gets started, before it gets crazy.
Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Turn the music down.
Get up and you jump around wild.
Jump
Ready?
around.
Ready?
Jump around. Jump around. Jump around.
Anyway, that record never came out. Actually, I don't believe it was even a record. It was a bunch of demos. And they tried again, 1975. They recorded another album. Never got released until 1977, called Kill City. Iggy Pop and James Williamson. Anyway, 1977, Iggy Pop started a solo career, successful. With the aid of Iggy Pop, with the aid of David Bowie, and it's been uphill ever since. Well, not ever since. He's had some down times, but what really did it for me was in 1988 he released Instinct. It's kind of like a heavy metal album. Well, they call it heavy metal.
Why so tiny?
Hard rock. With Steve Jones.
It's a tiny album.
Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols. Anyway,
Tiny.
great album, was up for a Grammy.
And the tiny album.
Lost out to Jethro Tull, of all people. Of all bands,
well,
I should say.
That's okay.
Anyway, I like that album too, but it didn't quite fit the, Some people thought Metallica should have won that year. I think Instinct should have won that year. All right. Stump the Jamie, number 3. What instrument didn't I already say this? What instrument did Iggy play in the band The Prime Movers and the Iguanas? Oh, Prime Movers, okay. The Iguanas. Iggy was a drummer. And Iggy actually taught Scott from the Stooges, Scott Ashton, to play the drums. Or he helped him learn to play the drums. But anyway, that's my show. That's my show. Iggy and the Stooges. Please share share my YouTube channel with people, subscribe to it, make comments, do all of those great things that people do on YouTube channels. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, you missed 2 questions, so
2 questions. The 2 questions that I couldn't get, please answer them. You know, if you know,
or if you remember
let me
what they
know.
are.
Yeah. If you know what they are, make a comment on my YouTube channel, and I'll be smarter for it.
And your next show?
And my next show is, I don't know what it's going to be on, but there will be another show. And what do you think? What should I do? You got any suggestions? Frank Zappa, Mothers of Invention, The Doors.
Eagles.
Should I do some blues? What do you want? B.B. King, Willie Dixon? I don't know.
Freebird.
Freebird. Oh, there will be no Freebird on this show. Thank you. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Later, man. Move it.